If I asked you to talk about the states of consciousness, how would you answer? Would you say that being awake and asleep are states of consciousness? Or would you have some more spiritual answer, such as astral travel? Or is deja vu a form of consciousness? And what about meditation? Well, you can make a case for all of these, but there are some that believe that we live in three different states of consciousness, and these are 3D, 4D, and 5D. And we can live in any one of these states or a combination of all three, with the majority of people doing just that. Interesting topic, right? Well, this is exactly what we are going to talk about in this video, the truth of these three states of consciousness and spiritual dimensions. So stay tuned till the end. Ascend to higher dimension, ascend to higher consciousness. What exactly do we mean by that? When we use the word ascension, it is in reference to elevating the human consciousness to higher dimensional frequencies and realities. We can look at this in terms of 3D, 4D, and 5D consciousness. Humanity has operated from a 3D consciousness level for centuries. As humanity evolves, we are ascending into higher states of consciousness, 5D. So let's look at each dimension. Let's start with 3D. 3D consciousness is made up of low, dense, vibrational frequencies and operates in duality and separation. People operating from the 3D look at things from a linear perspective and only understand what they can see and touch as being reality. Life feels like the survival of the fittest, and you're identified by the way you look, the job you have, and the car you drive. In this consciousness, there are many programs that condition the human mind to operate in this state. 4D consciousness. Well, 4D is the gateway to 5D, but still operates in duality. It is the beginning of the recognizing there is something more than self. Something more. 4D consciousness begins to awaken you to the idea that we are all connected and there is more to life than what meets the eye. This is when we become curious about self-exploration and begin to connect to something more than ourselves. This is often referred as an awakening. 5D consciousness resides in love and neutrality. There is no duality here. No good or bad. In 5D, there is no competition. And we know that there is enough in the universe for everyone. You feel overwhelming emotions of love and compassion for life, Mother Earth and the stars. In this space, we live there we live free from conditioning, and we live in oneness with yourself and others. This is known as self-mastery and will create peace on earth. The two most common spiritual dimensions of reality that people on earth are familiar with are their waking state of consciousness and their dream state of consciousness. Waking experiences are mostly in third dimensional, that's new 3D reality. So what we remember of our dreams is mostly from the fourth dimension, that's our 4D. If we have a lucid dream where we can control and change our experience, that is said to be in fifth dimension, that's 5D. So these dimensions, 3D, 4D, and 5D, are described in many other ways as well. But there are, however, many other spiritual dimensions of reality. But humans can experience these through meditation, through hypnosis, through lucid dreaming, through hallucinogenic plants and drugs, prayer, and many other spiritual related modalities. Each dimension of reality has a different sets of laws that govern what generally can and cannot be done by an individual soul or consciousness that is in that dimension. Now let's look at the fourth dimension now. 4D works a little like an elevator. It can take us up and it can also take us down. So the dimension of thought and emotions, and it gives us access to the fifth dimension or drops us down into the third dimension. So what opens a gateway to the four dimensions? Typically a clear thought and an associated strong emotion. So when the mind imagines a clear thought, which typically generates an emotion, we enter in the frequency of the fourth dimension through the gateway of the heart. Now, if the thought is negative and generates a low frequency emotion like fear or anger, we drop down into 3D. If the thought is positive and generates a high frequency emotion like joy or gratitude, we rise to 5D. And with this newly found awareness, we can practice the elevator ride. We can practice. So notice when something triggers you. You won't have to wait long for this opportunity because you will most likely get triggered in one of your next encounters today. If someone upsets you, notice the emotional trigger and see if you can shift your interpretation of the encounter or a situation or a person to something that is positive, that is empowering. You may have to pause. We may have to focus a bit. You might even have to fake it at first. Don't worry, just fake it. I mean, your reality, remember friends, your reality is an illusion anyway. So you might as well turn the illusion into one that feels good rather than one that feels bad. Does that make sense? So as soon as you take your attention off a negative thought and focus it on an empowering interpretation of the situation, a person you just encountered, you will experience a different emotional response. And that conscious emotional response will turn the downward going elevator set off by your trigger and flip it on its head into an upward going elevator that gives way to higher emotional frequencies. And the more fire you feed your higher emotional frequencies, the more grounded you will get in them. So it is literally a matter of ongoing practice. Yes, practice is the key here. So what did we learn? How to practice? Notice the trigger. Pause. Choose a frequency response instead of an automatic negative reaction. And then experience the shift. Notice the trigger, pause, choose a high frequency response instead of an automatic negative reaction, and then experience the shift. So if experiencing life through the lens of 5D is of interest to you, begin practicing today. Yes, right now. Just like every other skill in life, this one takes will and commitment to practice. With time, you will notice as your ability to catch the moment of choice over reaction will become easier and faster. And in the moment of choice, if you opt for a conscious and high frequency response over a low frequency reaction, you will single-handedly raise your frequency and initiate your ascending journey. And this possibility is now available to all of us. What an incredible time to be alive. What an incredible time it is to be alive. What an incredible opportunity we have right now in these human bodies and on this planet. So see you all in the fifth dimension. Bye-bye for now.